Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about what to do when somebody gets you in a rear naked choke. So this is the old way that we used to do this rear naked choke defense. Now here's the problem with that. Nobody who watches UFC comes up and does a rear naked choke like this. It's not realistic. There is a better way to defend against this particular choke. So here's one of the key factors in the different types of choke that my partner is applying. In the old way, the defense really hinged on the choke, the grip to the choke being here. Whereas realistically, if somebody's gonna sink in a rear naked choke, this is where that grip is gonna be. If I try to make this plucking motion, it's not gonna work. So when this choke comes on, I'm bringing my arm all the way around, wrapping on the bicep, and bringing that hand up. From here, what she's gonna do is she's gonna turn her hips towards where my hands are, to the side that my hands are at. So she's gonna turn her hips, she's gonna swim that arm that's closest to me around and step back behind. Now real quick, what this does is this turns this into a side headlock. One of my instructors, who I have a lot of respect for, told me that when you're getting choked, it's more important to fight the position sometimes than it is to fight the choke. If her hands go to this choke, she's gonna strangle herself. But if she fights the position by swinging the hips out and around and turns this into a side headlock, I can hold on to this all day long and it's not gonna choke her out, which is gonna give her more time to be able to counter the choke. Now the follow-up to this is once she shoots her hips out and around, she's going to swim that arm all the way around while she's simultaneously hitting me in the groin, and then she's going to pull my head back and then down, which is going to take me down, and then she's going to follow up with more counterattacks as needed. So another angle of this, she's going to swing her hips and swing her arm out and around. Her hands are going to go to my eyes while she's simultaneously hitting me in the groin. She's going to pull my head back and then down. Now from here, she can follow up with whatever kind of counterattack she wants. She can go for a stomp, she can run away, whatever the situation calls for. One more time, I'm sinking the choke in. She's going to swing her hips to the side that my hands are at while she's bringing that arm back and around and going to the eyes, simultaneously hitting me in the groin. Now when she pulls my head back, from here she's going to drive my head straight down to the ground. And then she's going to follow up as needed. Alright, so a couple key points here. When this choke comes on, my hips can go to either side. It's a lot easier if I go to the side that the hands are on because it puts me in a really good position to be able to follow up. But if for some reason I can't get to that side, I can make it to the other side. Now, one thing to think about is a lot of times when somebody gets you in a rear naked choke, they do so with one leg in front of the other. So if one leg is in front of the other, that might hinder my ability to go to whatever side that is. So again, that's one thing to think about. Another key point is that when I'm going and doing this defense, when I'm going to pull the head back, I don't want to just pull it back to the opposite wall. I'm going to pull it back enough to get her spine lined up, and then I'm going to go straight down. What that's going to do is it's going to give me the leverage that I need to be able to go for that takedown, but it's also going to make it a lot harder for her to fight back. So going just from the side headlock, instead of going all the way back, I'm going to go back and then straight down. A lot of times, even with a bigger attacker, this will take them down. If for some reason I'm having a hard time getting the head back, after I go for that groin shot, I'm going to come straight up for that punch, and that's going to persuade their head to go back to the position that I want it to. Also, when I'm in this position, I want to make sure that I'm going more for the eyes than I am anywhere around the mouth. Because obviously if my hands or if my fingers are around her mouth, I'm going to lose a finger because she's going to bite it off, right? So when I come up and around, I want to make sure that I go for the eyes. If I have to punch to persuade, then I'm going to go for the eyes, straight down, and then I'm going to follow up as needed. All right, guys, so in conclusion, what we just showed is a defense for the choke in the worst case scenario. Now, mind you, this is one of those types of chokes where it doesn't take a whole lot of time for the lights to go out. So you've got to be on your reaction time. Now, with that being said, if you allow the choke to get to this point, your Krav Maga sucks and you probably need to go back to training. And what I mean by that is there's a timeline to every single attack. It doesn't matter if it's a choke, if it's a punch, if it's a kick, it all starts somewhere, right? And one of the things that we should be training along with all these really cool choke defenses is our awareness. I should not let somebody get that close to me to begin with. And if they do get a little close to me and I feel uncomfortable with it, there's this whole timeline that I can go through to keep them from attacking me. If somebody's coming up behind me and I don't know them, regardless of the situation, I should probably turn to see what's going on. But the bottom line is just because we train all the choke defenses to every choke that you can possibly imagine, I don't want to be a professional at getting choked. Just because I know the defense in the perfect scenario with matted floors and air conditioning and good lighting, I don't want to allow myself to get to that position to begin with. Because let me tell you something, you could have a good defense for this choke and you could have trained it hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, and it still fails. This is one of those types of chokes to where if your defense fails, you're going to be in a bad way. You're going to be in a very bad way.